Did you know that 96% of your thoughts today are exactly the same ones you had yesterday? Your mind is trapped in a loop that you can't even see, but today, I'm going to show you how to break free. Today we're diving deep into the hidden architecture of your mind, what spiritual masters call the matrix, and I'll reveal the 5 powerful techniques that can help you escape its limitations forever. By the end of this video, you'll understand not only how this matrix works, but the exact steps to transcend it and access levels of consciousness most people never experience. Before we begin, let me ask you this. Have you ever had that strange feeling that you're watching yourself live your life rather than truly living it? That sensation isn't random, it's actually your first glimpse beyond the matrix. And if you stay with me until the end, I'll show you how to transform that fleeting moment into a permanent state of liberation. The mental matrix isn't some science fiction concept. It's the intricate web of thoughts, beliefs, and conditioning that dictates how you interpret reality. Imagine wearing glasses with coloured lenses since birth. If you've never taken them off, you'd believe the world naturally has that tint. The matrix works exactly like this, filtering your entire existence through lenses you don't even know you're wearing. What makes this matrix so powerful is that it operates automatically. Right now, as you're listening to my words, your mind is already categorizing, judging, and filtering this information based on pre-existing patterns. These patterns weren't chosen by you, they were installed through your upbringing, cultural programming, traumatic experiences, and societal expectations. Have you ever noticed how difficult it is to change a habit or belief even when you consciously want to? That's the matrix fighting to maintain its structure. When you try to think differently, an invisible force seems to pull you back to familiar thought patterns. This isn't your imagination, it's your neural pathways resisting reconfiguration. The matrix creates what psychologists call cognitive blind spots, things that are literally invisible to you because your mind has been programmed not to see them. For example, studies show that people consistently filter out information that contradicts their existing beliefs, a phenomenon called confirmation bias. This happens automatically without conscious awareness. Consider this stunning experiment from Harvard. Researchers showed participants a video of people passing basketballs and asked them to count the passes. During the video, someone in a gorilla costume walks directly through the scene. Remarkably, 50% of viewers completely missed seeing the gorilla. Their minds were so focused on counting passes that the obvious gorilla became invisible. This is how the matrix blinds you to what's right in front of you. But here's where things get interesting. Once you begin to see the matrix for what it is, you can never go back to being fully trapped within it. Awareness itself is the first crack in its foundation. The question becomes, how deep are you willing to go to expand that crack into complete freedom? Now let's explore the first technique to transcend this mental matrix. Pattern interruption. Your brain operates largely through habitual neural pathways, like water flowing down the same riverbed over and over. To break free, you must first disrupt these established patterns. Try this. For the next 24 hours, take a completely different route to work. Use your non-dominant hand for routine tasks. Sleep on the opposite side of your bed. These simple changes create neurological confusion that momentarily suspends the autopilot mind, creating space for new awareness to emerge. A client of mine practiced pattern interruption for just 1 week and reported experiencing thoughts that seemed to come from nowhere, insights and perspectives she'd never accessed it before. This happens because when you disrupt your routines, you temporarily step outside the matrix, allowing fresh neural connections to form. The second technique is what I call consciousness anchoring. Your attention is constantly pulled into the past or projected into the future, rarely fully present. This time-traveling mind is a core feature of the matrix, keeping you stuck in regrets or anxieties rather than the only moment that truly exists. Now, to practice consciousness anchoring, choose an ordinary sensation, like your breath, the feeling of your feet on the ground, or the sound of the wind, and return your attention to it whenever you notice your mind wandering. Ancient traditions understood this principle thousands of years ago. The Sanskrit word smriti, often translated as mindfulness, actually means remembrance. It's not about forcing your mind to be still, but rather repeatedly remembering to return to presence whenever the matrix pulls you into its thought streams. The third technique is belief archaeology. The deepest layer of the mental matrix consists of core beliefs so fundamental that you mistake them for reality itself. These beliefs act like invisible software running in the background of your consciousness, influencing every decision without your awareness. To practice belief archaeology, take any emotionally charged situation in your life and ask, What would I have to believe about myself or reality for this to upset me? Keep asking this question, going deeper with each answer. Eventually you'll uncover beliefs so basic that they seem like obvious truths. That's when you know you've reached the foundation of your personal matrix. The fourth technique is quantum questioning. The questions you habitually ask create the boundaries of your mental reality. Most people ask disempowering questions like, "Why does this always happen to me?" or "What's wrong with me?" These questions strengthen the matrix by reinforcing limiting perspectives. Instead, start asking questions that the matrix cannot answer within its current structure. What would I experience if I wasn't identified with my thoughts? Or what becomes possible when I release the need to know? These questions create cognitive openings that the matrix cannot fill with its pre-programmed responses. Physicist David Bohm noted that thought creates boundaries that seem absolute until questioned at their foundation. When you ask questions from beyond your current understanding, you invite answers from beyond your current limitations. This is how paradigm shifts in consciousness occur. The fifth and most powerful technique is identity transcendence. The ultimate prison of the mental matrix is the concept of who you think you are, your self-identity. This identity isn't a discovery but a construction, assembled from memories, social feedback, and interpretations of experiences. To practice identity transcendence, sit quietly and ask, who am I beyond my thoughts, emotions, roles, accomplishments, and failures? Don't try to answer conceptually. Instead, rest in the open awareness that remains when all self-definitions are temporarily suspended. Spiritual teacher Eckhart Tolle describes a breakthrough moment when, in deep despair, he suddenly thought, I cannot live with myself anymore. Then came the realization, if there's an I and a myself, which one is the real me? This simple question shattered his identification with thought and initiated a profound awakening beyond the mental matrix. These 5 techniques work directly on the architecture of consciousness itself, not just changing the content of your thoughts, but altering how thinking itself operates within you. This is the difference between rearranging furniture in a prison cell and actually escaping the prison. Now remember that shocking statistic I mentioned at the beginning? That 96% of your thoughts today are identical to yesterday's thoughts? This comes from neuroscience research, showing that the unconscious mind processes approximately 11 million bits of information per second, while the conscious mind handles only about 50 bits. Your awareness is quite literally filtering out 99.99% of available information at any moment. When you begin practicing these techniques, you'll start accessing portions of that filtered information, experiencing reality with new clarity and depth. It's like seeing in full color after a lifetime of black and white. The mental matrix isn't evil, it evolved as a survival mechanism, creating cognitive shortcuts to manage the overwhelming complexity of existence. But like any tool, it must be used consciously rather than unconsciously controlling you. As you implement these practices, you'll likely experience resistance, confusion, doubt, or even fear. This is normal. The matrix fights back when challenged because its primary function is self-preservation. This resistance isn't a sign of failure, but confirmation that you're successfully disrupting its operations. The journey beyond the mental matrix isn't about destroying your mind, but transcending its limitations. You're expanding from being trapped inside thought to using thought as a tool for higher consciousness. The mind becomes your servant rather than your master. To summarize what we've covered, the mental matrix is the invisible thought structure that shapes your reality. The 5 techniques to transcend it are pattern, interruption, consciousness anchoring, belief archaeology, quantum questioning, and identity transcendence. Each targets a different aspect of the matrix's architecture. Remember, liberation happens gradually. Be patient with yourself. Each moment of awareness creates a wider opening for your authentic consciousness to emerge. The matrix took decades to construct. Allow yourself time to move beyond it. If this video resonated with you, try implementing just one technique this week. Notice what changes in your perception, and if you want to go deeper, click subscribe for more videos on expanding consciousness beyond conventional limitations. Thanks for watching.